in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you have imagined. You know? And that's why I say no coincidences. Because you've made it sound like you were lucky and, you met certain therapists or this. Mary, it ain't luck.
Yeah,
it's your consciousness.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You know why Elizabeth Kubler-Ross was always saying there are no coincidences. Because unconsciously you know what's right and you followed it and did it. And it made a difference. If you'd picture, I'm going to be crippled, I'm going to be paralyzed, I'm going to die, you wouldn't meet all these people because your desires, your poetry, all of that creates a very different aura and life around you.
Mary, you may know I started a happiness club about 19 years ago, and Bernie's been very involved with it as well. Here in Woodbridge, we have meetings once a month, and, it's been wonderful. I have to think, actually I should ask you the question, how much do you feel happiness has played a role in your in healing and, in your energy level? And because I have a feeling that you have transmuted yourself and you become, I think, a very happy person. And when you're happy, there's a certain energy that carries you and affects everyone involved. So I'm just wondering how much you may or may not have realized that happiness has played a role in your life and the work you're doing.
Oh, Lionel, it's been absolutely central and crucial. And as a matter of fact, when my husband and I go through any particular challenges, because there's always challenges and stress, we will often say we have to protect our happiness.
Wow.
And we're very mindful about who we let into our lives.
Yes.
But on the flip side of that is when you talked about the energy, the people that I have attracted into my life with happiness and goodness and compassion and kindness and gratitude. So yes, that I didn't know happiness. Ironically enough, I had happy moments, but happiness did not become a way of being for me until I started healing from post-polio. That was such an incredible, life-changing experience. And it was then that I started to experience happiness. And I think, and I know, Lionel, that this is something that you teach and that you talk about, is that, happiness doesn't come from winning the lottery. And Bernie, I know that would send you off on a whole other fact. But it's like, after I wrap up this interview, I'm going to go out on a run, and I'm going to feel the cold air, and I'm going to see the sun, and I'm going to see the little signs of spring, and it just makes me so happy, these little things that I never noticed because I was suffering, I was in so much pain, I couldn't enjoy being in my physical body in this life.
Yeah.
And so happiness has just, and I've transformed from being a very depressed, anxious person suffering, and rightfully so, if you will, because the circumstances were quite something, but you don't have to stay there, and that's what's so important.
I think that I was just thinking of our family, that when I would get angry, my wife would say, "You're so handsome when you're angry," and then you end up smiling and not angry. And when I told the kids, you talk about all my books, I said to the kids, I'm going to have a book published. What are you going to call it? Out of My Mind? And then, one more, I got a call to say that I was going to receive some honor, and they had given it 1 year to Mother Teresa, and I thought, I'm not in that category. Why are you? No, we think you've done a lot for a lot of people. So I came home and I said to the family, guess what? I'm going to get this wonderful honor. And our oldest said to me, I guess they've lowered their standards. And, you can't help but smile and heal when you hear things like that from the family, and they help you too. Mm-hmm. And
for
people to not be afraid to do this. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that I was just remembering the first time that we saw you at Harvard, and Bobby was with you. And she said, "She who laughs, laughs."
Right.
And, you know, that's so true. That's so true. And we're, you know, one of the things that my husband and I have been doing, and we notice we're doing it more lately, is really finding the humor in situations. And actually, when we were training for the marathon, I would get very upset sometimes because it was such a new experience and so challenging. And we were lost on a training run. And I just went into such a meltdown. And the universe really does have a sense of humor, because in the middle of my meltdown, I had a Velcro sports bra, and it just broke.
Uh-oh.
And so what was I going to do? I just started laughing hysterically in that moment. And so sometimes I think if we don't find the humor, the universe can sometimes give us a little tickle or something to say, hey.
Here's another no coincidence, because what was in my mind, I wasn't sure I was going to bring it up. You talk about your bra. This is a woman who had a bilateral mastectomy, and her poem is titled, "If bilateral mastectomies can't be fun, they're not worth having." And one of the lines towards the end is, "It felt good to get that off my chest."
Oh, boy.
You know, I mean, when you get poems like that from people, or they see them as labor pains, you know what I mean? Because this one woman said, after 9 months of pregnancy, I gave birth to my child. All discomfort and pain is now justified. And then when she had to go through her issue, she said, 12 months, but all the pain and discomfort is justified. I gave birth to myself.
Yeah.
And I think if we can see these things as labor pains, then you've learned something. Mm-hmm. And I know lots of people I would visit at the hospital because they were my therapist. And it was because of what they were living with or what they had been through. Mm-hmm. And it was so informative for me to be able to just sit with them and listen and how courageous they were and learn from them. And one man, it's part of our message to all the people listening to this. He knew my name was Bernie. I'd known him for years. And one day I walked into his room. He said, "Hello, Journey." And I think that's what we have to realize. Life is a journey. We're all on it. And, whether you decide to jog or walk or be wheeled through it isn't the issue. It's living it and experiencing your journey.
When I'm listening to both of you, I think of Norman Cousins in his book, Anatomy of an Illness, and he said that laughter was inner jogging. And
wonderful.
when we can, and especially when we can laugh about ourselves, that's when we've really achieved the highest point of humanity, I think, because that's an important mile marker.
Oh, absolutely, Lionel. I totally agree. And I certainly, as a runner, finished last many times. And I would turn that into a triumph. And I would act as though I were breaking the finisher's tape. And the running community is just so beautiful that oftentimes they would treat me as though I had broken the finisher's tape.
That's
but,
beautiful.
Certainly I don't, quote unquote, look like a runner, and I don't run like a runner. And yet it is through that and embracing that and appreciating that. And, at times laughing about the fact that, I'd be the last one to cross the finish line, but even finding the joy in that.
That's beautiful.
The key is you finished,
Yes.
Yeah, and that, I know what it was. This was in the Olympics where I forgot what country the fellow came from, but while he was running, something happened to his leg, and he couldn't run anymore, but he didn't stop. He limped along. And people said to him, "What are you doing? What's the point?" He said, "I wasn't sent here to win. I was sent here to complete the race."
Beautiful.
And he finished it. And I think if we all looked at our lives that way, it's not about coming in first or winning a prize. It's about living it and completing your journey and your life.
Yeah. Mary, I love you and I love your stories. And what I really appreciate from you is, what you talked about regarding happiness. And also, I think it's very powerful what you are saying to yourself when you're not winning. You're still calling yourself a winner. I think that's the most incredible lesson that we can all, take with us, because we have to watch what we tell ourselves, and you do an excellent job of that.
Thank you, Lionel. I love you, and I love Bernie. What did you say, Bernie?
You have a lot of boyfriends.
Yeah, a lot of lovers.
Right.
Well,
tell your husband when you get home that you picked up a few more boyfriends, all right?
You could tell your husband I love him, too, so he won't feel left out.
I will definitely do that, gentlemen. I certainly will.
Great.
Right, Mary, I didn't think about it, but I know we communicate on Facebook and things. But do you have a website?
Yes, I do.
Tell people
very
so
simply,
they can connect.
It's marymcmanus.com.
Okay. And
they can get to my blog from there, and my books are on there, and the news and events, and all sorts of. I have a section of healing resources. So yes, absolutely. Please check out my website and my blog.
Oh, beautiful. Well, thank you, Mary. Thank you, Bernie. I love you both, and I love everyone listening. We appreciate it, and keep running for your life, right?
Been good therapy.
Thank you so
Mary.
much. Thank you, guys. Take care. Right. God bless.
Okay. God bless, too. Bye.
Join us next time on Mind Health Matters with Dr. Bernie Siegel. Until then, remember, be fully engaged in life, loving every moment as your unique self. In going deep within to discover ourselves, we can also discover self-love. Then, when we let our hearts make up our minds, we connect what our bodies do so well to the power of love. We can boost our ability to grow and heal along with our self-esteem. The sense of empowerment that results from this mind-body connection is one related to self-induced healing. When you add spirit to that connection, making a mind-body-spirit connection, you nourish your soul. For more insight, go to BernieSiegelMD.com.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.